No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show, presented by Play Now, the official sports betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets, starts now.
Hey, another loss to discuss. That's new. It isn't. It's just another loss, another Winnipeg Jets defeat. But that's okay. We're going to do it anyways because that's what we do here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. We say good evening, Winnipeg. We say good evening, Manitoba. And for all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show where the Winnipeg Jets drop their 9th in their last 11 games, 2-7-1 in their last 10, 6-3 tonight to the Boston Bruins. Just another disappointing effort, another disappointing result. I mean, this Winnipeg Jets team is in free fall. I mean, I think that's the only way you can describe it at this point in time. They're just everything about them right now screams trouble, screams problems, screams changes are needed, and quickly those changes are needed. But I don't expect those changes to occur because that would require just some sort of acknowledgement of really where the Winnipeg Jets are. I don't understand why those changes aren't imminent, aside from the old excuses about how difficult it is to make trades and how difficult it is to make changes and things of that nature. But you watch this Winnipeg Jets team, you look at this Winnipeg Jets team, and it's just not good enough, Dave M. It's just not good enough at all. And yet, here we are again. Same old story. We could probably replay one of the old post-game shows using a similar analysis. But we're not going to do that, of course. There's just too many mistakes, and you're not good enough to recover from those mistakes. And you don't have the goaltending to mask your mistakes. Mm-hmm. And as a result, you have a 6-3 defeat to the Boston Bruins tonight in another home loss. In the second in a row on home ice in this 4-game homestand. Nice to see you again. We got together about 9 hours ago at City Place. Always a fun time, but nice to be back with you again to talk about tonight's contest.
Look, we gave some keys to the game on that special edition show from City Place, Drew, and one of the first ones was have a good start. They didn't have a great start, but they got the first goal. That was one of our things that they needed to do, not give up the first goal. So they, by virtue of scoring the first goal, they prevented that.
Yeah.
But then they gave up 3 goals in 2 minutes and 44 seconds. So it was quickly nullified. And we talked about it on the show. Mm-hmm. Your penalty kill stinks. Their power play is very good. Therefore, one could draw a reasonable conclusion. Don't take power plays. Don't take penalties, sorry.
Yeah.
Or don't give them power plays, however you want to look at it. And
right.
They did. And as a result, you quickly saw a 1-0 lead erased, and it became 2-1. So the Jets just, again, and you're right, we do sound like broken records, but the changes are not, they're just not manifesting enough to create something. And again, Eric Comrie wasn't good in this game. The rebound control was bad.
Yeah.
The on the fourth goal, he drops the puck in front of him, and you could say there's chaos and the defenders aren't clearing the front of the net. That's fine, but I just don't like the rebound. And
I don't like the rebound. I don't like the resulting goal. I think it's a bad goal.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like it create, but even on the Morgan Geekie beating out the icing. How is Vlad Nemesnikov? I get that these guys are tired, but sorry, you're desperate. Boston played like the desperate team. The Jets didn't play like a desperate team. And I, quite honestly, I actually thought when I was watching this game, obviously live in the building for the first 2 periods, and then came home for the last period to watch it, and obviously to do the post game show. But you're watching this, and I really felt like, as chaotic as this was in that first period, and I thought to myself, 3-2 after 20 minutes, you're watching this, you're like, well, these Boston Jets games really are wild hockey games in December.
Sure.
But it was, and then when they made it 4-2, I said to Carter Brooks, who sits beside us, I said, Carter, kind of feels like the Jets are going to get square on the power play. They did, and then maybe be able to come back and force this one into extra time, because we talked about how Boston either they don't lose in overtime or shootout, but they have no loser points. And that's what it kind of felt that way because they'd managed to keep it close, right? They had it, what we said, Drew, earlier was even if you're going to lose, make sure you at least, even if you know you're going to lose, even if you're down, try and keep the game close so you can try and force that extra time. And then you, again, down 4-3, and you give up that goal when the icing gets beat out. I mean, it's inexcusable. You're a team that is desperately, like I said, you're not going to lose. You're not going to make the playoffs because of this loss tonight in game 30 of the season. But you are now 14, 15, and 1 if my math is mathing.
Your math is mathing.
You have, again, this is the first time now you've got a sub 500 record.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is, again, like we don't think that Connor Hellebuck is going to be back Saturday against the Washington Capitals. We don't know. We'll maybe get more insight tomorrow if he practices. Jets are scheduled to hit the ice at 12 noon. But the fact is that, it's just so defeating that you get a goal from Alex Iafallo. You get a goal from Morgan Barron. And I'm trying not to ruin the game recap. But you finally get some secondary scoring. I guess, is Velarde now considered secondary scoring because he's no longer on the top line?
No, but you get 2 5-on-5 goals from somebody other than the top line.
That's right.
And you still give up 5 plus the empty netter for 6.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just it's just not good enough, is what it is. I mean, it's just not good enough. That it's nice to get that secondary scoring tonight, but the goaltending, the defensive coverage, it just wasn't good enough. I mean, the front of the net, which had been a no-go zone for 2 years in a row, 3 years in a row, is now a open season for other teams to be able to go to from the Winnipeg Jets perspective. Eric Comrie, with all due respect, I think has begun to remind everybody, why he's a backup goaltender. Tonight he looked tired to me. He looked overworked to me. Here's Scott Arniel.
Scott, you have the strong start. What concerned you most about the way the game turned in the first period?
2 penalty kill. 2 goals on penalty kill. Not good enough.
How about 2 offensive zone minors too? Is that?
Yeah, we see that. You can put that on top of it. 200 feet from your net, 2 stick infractions. So when you get a lead, that's not obviously what you want to give them an opportunity like that.
Sure. Gabe Velarde sort of mentioned that it feels like every mistake you're making is ending up in the back of the net. How do you kind of stop that and get it turned the other way?
We'll review it. We'll talk about it until we go out and, on the ice, pay attention to the detailed part of the game. That way, those things are going to happen. There was more grade A's given up tonight than we've given up in a while. So, real disappointing coming off what we had talked about after the Dallas game.
And we've talked a lot about kind of progress in the last little while, and I don't know how you differentiate one loss from another, but is there extra frustration when you look so good until then the breakdown happens and it's quite bad?
Yeah, it seems like that whole game went in spurts. Got off to a good start, got behind the 8 ball real quick. Then we got some real big momentum there at the end of the first. We got back into the game to make it 3-2. Then thought there were stretches of the second where, we'd all of a sudden there would be 2-3 shifts in a row, and then we'd go down in our end and give up a couple of glorious opportunities against. And it was just the inconsistency of kind of building off of, good parts of the game. And there were stretches there where we'd go, 2 or 3 minutes where we gave up grade A opportunities. So just got to keep hammering it home here. The moments, there's stress within the game, and you got to be able to handle the stress. And I'm not talking about the mental stress; it's the pressure that builds. And that's just part of as a pro hockey player. You got to be ready for those moments, be able to handle them better than we are right now.
I don't know if this makes sense as a question, but is there any sense of like the cavalry's coming, Connor Hellebuck's close? Does that creep into things a bit?
Well, obviously, he's a world-class player. That having him back is huge. But at the end of the day, if we're going to give up those opportunities that we gave up tonight, he maybe make those saves. But at the end of the day, those are too big of moments that at key times where we gave them opportunities. So we have to clean up our game, no matter which goaltender's in there. Obviously, having him back is a big difference, but we got to clean up our game. And we were trending towards that, and then again, here's this big step back.
It looked like on the PK you were trying pretty hard to pressure quickly. There's a lot of pace to it, and then sometimes there were breakdowns. Is that the goal, or what was going on in that case?
I got to go back and look at it. I mean, the one we have a chance to clear the puck, we don't. And then the next one, again, we're trying to be aggressive, and we get two guys in the same man, and they make a backdoor play. So, yeah, it just I got to look at it again. We're going to look it over here, and see what we need to do.
Morgan talked about you guys being a team last year that got up and was confident in shutting things down, and it's wearing a little bit that you find yourselves chasing the game so often. But even when you were chasing the game last year, you guys did a good job of doing that thing where last 5 minutes you'd get in their zone, you'd set up, and you'd apply the pressure. What's keeping you from getting to that and getting back into some?
Well, I think there was a lot of that tonight. There was a lot of our forecheck again was heavy, and we got pucks back, and but at the end of the day, it wasn't long enough. It wasn't it didn't continue long enough, and we didn't obviously capitalize on it either. We had some looks, had some rebounds, had some screens, had some tips, but at the end of the day, it has to be that for you have to come out doing that, not when you get down 1 or 2 goals and then all of a sudden get desperate. We have to be that way all the time. Thank you.
I had a drink of water. I didn't realize it was going to end as abruptly as it did tonight, but I would suggest that is a upset Jets head coach Scott Arniel. I mean, I
frustrated.
think you could almost see that. Yeah, you could see the frustration. It didn't boil over, but you could see that it was maybe bubbling to the surface a little more than you're used to seeing from the Jets head coach. And I understand where that frustration is coming from. I think we're all frustrated when we watch this team right now, because I'm sure that it's the same thing. It's not like it's not like the video review, when they watch the video of this game is going to be much different, and the messaging is going to be much different than it is from previous losses that this team has suffered. It's the same mistakes repeating themselves. And that's where you get the most frustrated as a head coach is you're talking about it. You're talking about the same things game in, game out. You're talking about the penalty kill, game in, game out. You're talking about the lack of speed, game in, game out. You're talking about the Jets head coach said it himself. You can take a drink when Scott Arniel says it, not just when I say it. The attention to detail was not there.
Has he been listening to the show, Drew?
I think so. He must be game in, game out. It's just it's the same ideas. It's the same problems.
It's hard to believe this is the same. It is hard to believe this is the same team that we watched. And I know it's not the same team, but it's just hard to believe to go from what we watched last year on a consistent basis to what we are watching now, and believing that these two franchises are the same. It's amazing. And so, not in a good way, of course, but yeah, I think there is a lot of reason for not that he needs justification, but there is. And again, like I said, I'm not really sure what the Kastelik Shen fight did off the
40 seconds into the game.
Yeah, no, it was 1 second. It was 10 seconds in. I think it was like they dropped it like right after the puck.
3 seconds into the game. Yeah, 3 seconds.
Yeah.
I apologize.
But it was like, and we were talking about it. I'm like, well, certainly not for the hit on David Gustafsson like 2 years ago. And Logan Stanley fought him right after, so I'm not sure it's had anything to do with that. And then it was, there was some thought that Shen and Kastelik had fought in Nashville. When Shen was in Nashville last year, but not really sure what that did. But regardless, it is a team that just continues. Again,
they're fragile. Would be the
well,
word
but not
that
only
I
that.
would use
And
for
again,
sure.
let's be realistic. Boston isn't a bad team. Boston won 3 games coming into tonight. Now 4. They are. They got McAvoy back. That's pretty significant, of course. But they didn't play Swayman. They played Korpisalo, and which was an opening for the Winnipeg Jets based on his numbers this year. Mm-hmm. And they didn't take advantage of it. So this was a game that they had their opportunities, but let's be realistic. You go down 3 goals. Sorry, you go down 3-1, 2:44 in the amount of time is elapsed. Is 2 minutes and 44 seconds. That's disheartening. And I think this team has gotten so, I don't want to say complacent, but so used to Connor Hellebuck cleaning up their mistakes. But there were a lot of mistakes. Like I know that Scott Arniel said
the team hasn't been. I mean, Hellebuck
Drew-
hasn't been doing that to the same extent for the last couple of years. Now, the years before, yes, Connor Hellebuck has been incredible, but the glaring errors have not been.
Yeah.
You thought that you were sort of done with that era.
Well, look at the breakaway of. It's a partial break, but look at Pasternak getting open the way he did in the third period or second period, whatever it was. But he just gets in behind the defense on a cross ice pass, and it's just like Scott Arniel said, it was grade A after grade A. And in fact, they got lucky because there was one play where one of the Bruins, I don't remember, in the second period, tried to stay onside, but it was a 2-on-1. I mean, there are and it ended up being a 1-on-1 because the Bruins stayed onside and then just kind of, I think it was Kastelik actually, but I'm not 100% certain. But ultimately what I'm saying is you gave up, I agree with Arniel. First of all, there's a couple of things. One, Hellebuck makes some of the saves that Comrie doesn't make. Doesn't give up the rebounds that Comrie gave up. Because even again, like I said, when he made some of the stops, there were big rebounds to be had. So, the rebound control wasn't great from Eric Comrie today. But
no, it was not a good game for Eric Comrie.
No. Not by any stretch of the imagination. But again, like I said, this is a game that you're looking at the Jets, and like you said, Drew, you get the secondary scoring from Morgan Barron and from
Alex
Iafallo, and it's you're just, again, like I said, even though you're not playing particularly well, both teams it's a 3-2 game after 20 minutes, so it's not as if that you're getting
before that
for sure.
Back up for a second.
Okay, beep.
1-0. You get the early 1-0 lead. 6 minutes into the game. We talked about that. It's important.
Yep.
It's beyond. I'm going to use the word pathetic.
Okay.
It's beyond pathetic that less that 5 minutes later. 5 minutes later, you're down 3-1.
Well, again, Arniel said it, Drew. 2 stick infractions in the offensive zone.
Yeah. Again, Gus Nyquist comes back into the lineup.
If you're Gus Nyquist and you're wanting to make an impact after sitting for 3 games, that's not the way to do it.
No, but where are the ramifications? You talk about, and I'm not going to purport to say that to know what's going on for certain within the Winnipeg Jets dressing room. But boy, oh boy, if you can come back into the lineup and you make that kind of mistake, there's, when you've been sitting and you've been bad all year long, Gus Nyquist, you've been bad all year long. There should be ramifications for that kind of mistake. Otherwise, you hear things about a dressing room being a country club. To me, that is a kind of mistake when you're a bad player on a struggling team. When you're a poorly performing player on a struggling team, and then you make that kind of mistake that ends up in the back of your neck, in your net, that the next day you could very justifiably be placed on waivers.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a message. And I don't think
I gave you a laundry list of players on the Manitoba Moose who I think would bring more energy and more to this lineup.
I know. And forget about the replacement players. Forget about who's going to come in and replace them. Forget about that for the time being. But if you're willing to, you need to, at some point in time, as the Jets head coach, Scott Arniel, we could sense his frustration there.
Yeah.
At some point in time, you got to draw a line in the sand.
Mm-hmm.
And the line in the sand, is it usually on a player who's low-hanging fruit? Yeah, absolutely. No question about it. But you own Gus Nyquist nothing. He's going to get his money either at the NHL level or the AHL level. No question about it.
Yeah,
that's fine. The money is the money.
It's guaranteed. Yeah.
It's guaranteed funds. If you want to say to the rest of the dressing room, this has to stop here, that this is enough, that we cannot come back in the lineup and you cannot take a stick infraction 200 feet away from your net, that we stand for more than that we demand better performance than that, those ramifications should be felt as early as tomorrow.
Yeah,
It should be felt as early as tomorrow. You've scratched the guy for 4 games in a row. You bring him back into the lineup. Both you and I thought it was a bit of a curious decision to bring him back in for tonight's contest. And what does he do in the game? That's basically the biggest impact that he had in tonight's game. A negative impact.
Yeah, it opened the door, obviously.
Negative impact. So you want to start, he
Well, the good news is you've
Scott
only got
Arniel-
Drew. You've got the 7-1-2 Washington Capitals coming here on Saturday, so that should be fine.
Scott Arniel can come out and he can be as frustrated as he wants after each and every game when they lose. It's been most every other game lately that they've been losing. But at some point in time, you want to say there has to be enough. It's enough. We've seen enough of this poor performance without anything that I would discuss and anything that I would say is serious ramifications. You're no longer an NHL player because you did this.
Well,
you know what? That's a ramification. That's a ramification. The Jets don't owe him anything. They don't owe him anything. They owe him
$3.5
the money that he's going to right. They own the money that he's going to get regardless. But if you want to say into your dressing room, we can't accept this anymore. And that player, as a result, is no longer with the team. That player, as a result, is now in the AHL or potentially on another franchise altogether.
But I mean, let's be realistic. This is not simply on Gus Nyquist. I mean, let's be.
It's not. But you might have to start making a scapegoat. You might have to start picking out a scapegoat. And he certainly would be right up at the top of the list because he hasn't lived up to anything worth $3 million. You don't have to, if you lose him, it's no big deal. It's not like you've made any sort of commitment to him beyond this season. So at some point in time, it's unfair to maybe single him out, but you need a scapegoat. You got to stay.
Drew, you're our scapegoat, just so you know. You're the illegal curve scapegoat.
That's fine. You guys can sacrifice me anytime you want. But at some point in time, you do need to say enough is enough.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, look, like we said, the things that you do in these games have ramifications, even if they aren't knocking themselves out of the playoffs because it's game 30 as opposed to game 60.
Right.
But, the truth is, like we've talked about, I wish I would have been a little more prepared, but I would love to have the list of Jets who haven't scored a goal in a long time. Because the
20
laundry...
games for Morgan Barron today, it was his first and 20.
Yeah.
And for Alex Iafallo was his first and 12.
But again, and we talked about it on this afternoon show. Vlad Nemestikov hasn't scored since November 1st, the Pittsburgh Penguins game.
Yeah.
That's not good. It's not good at all. Jonathan Toews, when was the last time he scored?
I mean, we've talked about it. We know it's been forever.
My point, but what I'm suggesting is that it is a problem. Like the goaltending wasn't good. So we're not going to sugarcoat that in any way, shape, or form. But I mean, I guess the only thing I'd say is that the Jets have now scored back-to-back games where they're at least scoring goals. They're getting some goal scoring, and their defending is poor all across the board. Like again, like it is, and it's not just like one guy. It's not just Nyquist. I mean, like I said, the Nemesnikov getting beat out on the icing is inexcusable. You could sit Nemesnikov. Like there's too many guys to sit. That's the only problem. It's hard to suggest that you're gonna. I mean, I know what you're saying, Drew. Start with one. Start showing someone that there's a consequence for this, because right now the only consequence is that the fans' interest. I mean, there's a lot of folks in the chat right now. Appreciate everybody joining us. Make sure you smash that like button and are subscribing to our channel. But the only thing you're gonna do is you're just gonna create fan disinterest because or apathy. And then folks are only going to, want to come here to listen to me talk about the Manitoba Moose, a winning team. But the fact is that right now, again, we're not here to come up with solutions for the Winnipeg Jets, because we're here to analyze what we see the Jets doing. Because ultimately,
but here's my problem. I don't see the Jets as an organization trying to come up with solutions. I mean, it was.
Well, I do like how people keep saying it's like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic.
I say that all the time. It was 2 weeks ago that the general manager, it was 2 weeks ago when he spoke with Mike McIntyre on that bad road trip.
Yeah.
And he said that the solution has to come from within.
Right.
Okay. Well, in the 2 weeks since then, has there been any indication whatsoever that the solution can come from within? Because there hasn't been, from my estimation.
Well, it depends on what within means. Is within mean the Jets specifically or the organization?
The current roster.
No.
The current roster.
Look, you're not going to have you're not going to have. I mean, like we've said. I mean, obviously you touched on it, Drew. Morgan Barron breaks his. It's actually crazy when you actually hear that number. No, we were talking about Morgan Barron early in the season, and he was all sorts of highs. Same with Vlad Domestikov. Same with Nino Niederreiter. I mean, what's Nino Niederreiter? What did he do in this today? What did Adam Lowry do in this game today? What did Adam Lowry do in this game? I'm just saying, like,
Nothing
again,
of
like
any
it's
consequence.
but what I'm suggesting is it's easy to pick a low hanging fruit like Gus Nyquist and throw him under the bus. But no offense, like, what did you
Yeah.
like? But fine, I can understand that, but I didn't come into tonight's game thinking Gus Nyquist was going to be a major contributor one way or the other.
But he came back into no, of course.
I don't
not.
know.
And
I expected a better effort. I'm not trying to give him a pass through. I'm saying that, like, I wouldn't sit here and watch this game and say, well, I was expecting Gus Nyquist to be a difference maker in any capacity. I thought he'd be better than he was. But ultimately, but you almost wonder if he's just playing scared at this point. He just doesn't want to make a mistake, even though he did right off the hop. But again, tell me what Adam Lowry did in this hockey game. Tell me what, like, there's just a lot of passengers. There's a lot of guys who are not doing anything. Cole Koepke was okay. You know, he tried to do a few things, but I just don't know. I can't having sat through 40 minutes of it live and 20 minutes of it on television. I'm not sure that I could tell you, other than like Mark Scheifele trying to create, even, I got to tell you, even Kyle Connor. I mean, I mentioned it on this morning show, Drew, and I'm not, look, Kyle Connor has a lot of goals, so he's scoring, he's producing. But in a game where you need these guys to, like, maybe they rode them too hard last game, but they seem, Mark Scheifele was, Gabe Velarde obviously did some things, but those guys were noticeable for the Winnipeg Jets, and Scheifele was looking like he was driving. He was trying to get something going.
he had the only scoring chance in the third period when it was still a 1-goal game.
But that's the other thing, right? It's a 1-goal game. You're at home. You're supposed to have advantage of the numbers. Supposed to have advantage of the matchups. And okay, so let's talk about this. Even though we're kind of going all over the place, is this the second game in a row where the Jets have a 6-on-5? And I mean, the Bruins look like they had the numbers advantage. I mean, I understand they're down by 2, but Drew, there's no urgency. There's none. And I get that I'm not saying play with speed.
I don't think that it's a lack of urgency. I know,
Drew. I gotta tell you, the Bruins possess the puck. No,
I think it's an inability. I don't
maybe.
think that they have. I just don't. I mean, when you ride the same guys Josh Morrissey played 26 minutes tonight for the Winnipeg Jets. And
just as Tracy had wrote in the chat that the horses are tired.
Yeah.
And Drew comes up with that one.
Well, 26 minutes Josh Morrissey played tonight, coming off a game against Dallas where he played more than that, if I recall correctly, or right around there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's played the equivalent of a full game over the last. He's playing half of your game, half of your ice time. And I just don't think that they, I don't think that they have anything left in the tank to give.
Mm-hmm.
The top line was not great tonight because we all knew that inevitably they were going to have a bit of an off night eventually because they're humans. So you don't have enough, so how do you mitigate that when their top line can't have an A+ performance? We talked about this last post game. What happens when Connor and Scheifele and Velarde and Morrissey can only produce a B performance, a B- performance? Then you don't have a chance. And that, to me, it was not their best game. They struggled at times. Credit to Boston for doing what they needed to do and not letting the Jets generate anything through it. I don't think it's a lack of urgency. I really don't. I think it's a lack of
gas.
A lack of gas. That's my estimation on this. They just don't have anything left because they're giving it all because they know nobody else on the damn team has anything to give for the most part because it's a flawed roster. When you're up 1-0 6 minutes into the game, and then 6 minutes later, 5 minutes later, you're down 3-1.
Right.
At some point in time, you just say, what the bleep? How do we give up 2 power play goals in the span of 2 minutes and 4 seconds?
Well, I'll tell you how. Your penalty kill stinks, and the Bruins power play is very good.
And you're taking offensive zone penalties to boot.
Yeah. No, I mean,
mean,
it is again.
There needs to be a line drawn in the sand that
Well,
says enough is enough is enough is enough. 30 games into the season, people deserve to lose their jobs. It's hard for me to say. I don't take any pleasure in saying it.
Mm-hmm.
The solace for me saying it is that somebody's still going to get paid $3 million. So that soothes the burn quite a bit, I would imagine. But at some point in time, you just have to say, I'm sorry, you're no longer an NHL player at the way you're currently playing.
Yeah, I mean, and as you said, you don't really have any loyalty to him. I mean, you don't. He was signed to a 1-year deal, and you were hoping that you get a bounce back. If you can't get the bounce back, then you have to make decisions accordingly. And as I've said, there are guys, I think, on the Manitoba Moose, they're not going to move the needle necessarily that you're going to get them whole season long and you're going to be able to get 10, 15 goals out of them. But there are a whole list of guys, whether you go through the vets or you go through the prospects, who I think will give you more, who, to be honest with you, who will give you energy, who can actually move. So I honestly think there are a handful of guys, no questions asked, that would come up and have more of an impact. I mean, remember, and I know the strength of the schedule was different in the first month, but when there was no Perfetti and no Lowry, and you were using guys like Parker Ford and Brad Lambert and Nikita Chibrikov, I mean, you were winning those games. Now, again, you could say those are easier games for the Jets to win against lighter competition. Fine. But they still won those games. And those guys, while they're not necessarily to the same degree of players as, as established players as Perfetti and Lowry and Sandberg, right. I mean, the fact of the matter is that they brought a little bit more in terms of, I don't know, there's just something right now. And I understand, like Cole Perfetti today, for example, we talked about it a little bit, but like he stayed out almost like with the scratches after morning skate. Like we were in doing media avails. We finished our media avails. Usually by that time, the only guys left on the ice are the healthy scratches. And Cole Perfetti was still out there. Now, credit him. He's trying to do something different. Like Scott Arniel kind of jokes saying, it's like putting. He's trying to get a little more, touches to the puck and see if it can kind of have an impact. But right now, you are not getting enough from so many guys. And again, that's offensively, that's defensively. This is the one thing I'll say. Like I said, I think there are a lot of people that didn't look good in the 6-3 loss to the Boston Bruins, starting with Eric Comrie. And, usually we give 3 stars, but in this game, Drew, we could be giving I don't know what the opposite of 3 stars would be, but whatever it is, there's a number of players who could earn those titles for, the old, what was it, Beef and Bouquet? Well,
sure.
That would
Cheers
be
and Cheers.
Cheers and Cheers. Oh, well, Cheers and Cheers were our show. I was thinking Beef and Bouquet was old school. I mean, I'll give folks some insight. I was walking in the hallway with Bobby Essenza, and
great save.
Great save Essenza, who's the Bruins goalie coach now. And we were walking down after the second intermission as I was getting ready to leave. And I did share with Bobby Essenza the story how we had Kirk Gilback on the show. When was that? Was that 2 years ago?
He just written his book, so I'm not exactly sure when it was. It was a couple years ago.
Anyways, yeah, and I basically had I told him how I had my one goal when we had him on was to get him to say great save Essenza, which he did, and he enjoyed that, and we talked about that for a bit while we rode the elevator downstairs together. But good to see Bobby Essenza. Lots of Heritage Classic talk, and now he's still with the Bruins. Been with the Bruins for a long time, but there were not a lot of great save Essenzas in this game if you were the Winnipeg Jets.
I think again, you got a good reminder why Eric Comrie is a backup goaltender in this league. And I think that Eric Comrie, you saw a goaltender in my mind who's been overworked. Now, I know he's been pulled from a number of games because of the performance of the players in front of him, which has a bit lessened his load to some extent. But
right.
To me, he looked like a tired goaltender tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So Connor Hellebuyck's return, whether it's Saturday, whether it's Monday against Ottawa, whether it's when they go on the road, whenever it is not going to be a day too early. They'll need Connor Hellebuyck back, of course, as quickly as humanly possible. But to me, Eric Comrie tonight looked like a tired goaltender. I mean, when you're giving up rebounds, the likes of which that he was giving up, it's not because those were particularly difficult shots that generated a rebound. you're human. You're tired. You're not sharp. You're not at your best. Josh Morrissey, at the end of a game where you've played 26 minutes, you're not at your best. You can't find that other level that you need to go to. I get it. I mean, again, these are human beings who at some point in time might not always perform at an A+ level. So when that's happening, you have to find alternatives. You have to acknowledge the situation. You have to have backup plans to your backup plans. And to me, I just see too much mismanagement as far as I'm concerned.
Well, what is Drew? What has Comrie played now? 10 out of the last 11 games,
I
or
believe
started?
so.
Sorry,
Yeah, started 10 out of his last 11, I believe. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, like,
that's a huge workload for a guy who's used to playing once every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
One
every 10
one
days,
out of
maybe?
every 5, one out of every 6 games instead of 10 out of 11 games. It's a huge workload. I mean, so is that on Scott Arniel? Is that on Wade Flaherty? Is that on? Sure. I understand why you don't want to throw out a rookie goaltender who's never played an NHL game in his life.
Yeah.
But at some point in time, at least he's fresh. At least he's energized. I mean, at least he's got that excitement level in front of him. Or if you didn't think that Eric Comrie could handle the workload, then you find alternatives. Again, easier said than done. I get that. I understand that making changes is easy for me to say here on a post-game show, and it's a lot harder in real life. But at some point in time, you have to acknowledge what the situation is, or just wave the white flag. And if you've made the decision, I don't expect you to publicize it that you're gonna wave the white flag. But if you can't have it both ways. If you're not making changes to this roster, particularly the forwards, particularly the third pairing of the defense, if you're not making legitimate changes to try to improve, the only other interpretation that's possible is that you've just waved the white flag on the season for the most part, unless by magic things turn around. Well, magic doesn't usually happen. Magic doesn't you deal with kids. I got 2 kids. Everyone knows that. I deal with my kids. I explain to them, the answer is hard work. The answer is, thinking a little bit deeper into the problem to figure out what the answer is. It's not a magic answer. It's not written on some, it's not going to magically appear in front of you. You need to find an answer. You need to change your approach to the question. And that's to me where the Winnipeg Jets are struggling, is that they refuse to change their approach to trying to answer a difficult question that they're currently faced with.
Yeah, and look, I mean, Redwood 1049 has a good one here. You would think the players would at least play good defensive hockey with your backup in net for a long stretch, but they have been terrible defensively. And so that's what we're talking about. We're not talking solely Eric Comrie. I mean, like we said, there's goals that he would definitely want to have back. But ultimately, to me, this is a team that has just been too easy to play against. And the give a shit level isn't high enough. Right. It isn't. I'm sorry. When Vlad Nemesnikov gets beaten out in a 1-goal game for an icing that results in like the Neil Pionk not clearing the puck on the penalty kill when he has possession, fine. Like you don't like it to happen, but it happens in 1,000 games and you don't get burnt by it. This time they kept the puck in and, on the power play and then they end up scoring subsequently. But the fact of the matter is that's when the Nemesnikov play is the one that bothers you. Or like I said, letting Pasternak get behind you when you're chasing the game. And I understand you're more inclined to be, pushing forward because you're trying to create some offense. But the Jets were defending at this point. It wasn't as if they had puck possession and they were going with it. So there's just a lot of mistakes that this team is making that are hampering any ability to generate. So you take 1 step forward, but like 4 steps back because you get the secondary scoring. You get a goal from Morgan Barron, first time in 20 games. Alex Iafallo, what'd you say, Drew, first time in 12 games? So you finally get what you need, which is someone other than Mark Scheifele or Kyle Connor to score a goal for you. And then you give up 3 goals in 2 minutes and 44 seconds. And, the game is, you're chasing. And what do we say? This team is too fragile to be chasing because they're not the same team that they were last year. They're not the team that can play defensive hockey, wait for their opportunity, strike, and do some damage. They just aren't. As we just talked about, this team right now is too porous defensively. Whether it's at 5-on-5, I haven't looked at the final numbers for the game, but I'm sure they were not particularly.
The Jets were actually, if you believe the 5-on-5, Corsi 4%, the Jets had the advantage. I mean, the Jets were the 60% to 40% in the first, 56. The Bruins were the better of the
I would definitely believe it in the first. The Jets, I mean, again, the Jets gave up 3 goals on 6 shots.
Right. The second was much more even. The third to me is the real problem, period. Because you're chasing the game, you're down by a goal, and the Jets just had nothing.
Yeah.
The third period, Boston did to the Jets what the Jets did to so many teams last year and the year before in the third period with lead, which is suffocate them, which is put them into a vice and prevent them from getting anywhere near the tying goal. I mean, Scheifele had a chance. That was about it.
When it was 4-3. Yeah.
When it was still 4-3.
Yeah, he made that. He created that nice where he cut in and he made that nice move.
Yeah,
so
that was about it, though. Other than that, there was nothing there for the Jets in the third period. So kudos to Boston for that. Kudos to Boston for.
But again, Drew, it comes to me, and you can use the excuse that they ran out of gas, and that's the reason why they didn't have. But that's 2 games in a row now. That's a cautionary tale to Scott Arniel. That using your not having the ability to trust in your lines. Or maybe it's a cautionary tale to Kevin Cheveldayoff. It's when your coach doesn't have the faith in his lineup to play them all. And then when you need them, when you need to be able to, this is where we're going to have to try and jumpstart this group. And hey, maybe we can score a goal that sends this game to overtime. Well, like I said, I mean, the Bruins possessed the puck on today's 6-on-5, way more than the Jets did, had a chance to end it. I think it was Morgan Geekie shot it high. Yeah. And I think all of Strathclyde, Manitoba came the 3 hours east to watch him play. There's always a lot of Bruins fans, a lot of Original Six folks here, but when you've got the second leading goal scorer in the NHL from your small town of 800, which is pretty remarkable. Of course, his brother Connor also is an NHLer. But the fact of the matter is, when you've got there were a lot of folks in Bruins jerseys, and there were a lot of cheers that when they scored. But I mean, he had a chance with the empty net, and the Jets they had nothing. And you just were watching, and I was like, what am I watching here? It's weird to have covered this team as we have, Drew, for 15 years now, and been doing the post-game show for however long we've been doing the post-game show. It feels like 4 years now. I think this is our 4th year.
When it was COVID, 2020. 5 years?
So I guess this is our fifth year of doing post-game shows.
Sure.
And you watch this team, and it's it's unrecognizable. It really is. It's unrecognizable to watch the team that we watched. And again, I understand when years pass, you no longer talk about last year's team because we're watching and focused on another team. But it's just very shocking to watch this team against Dallas, 6-on-4, have nothing to do, don't look dangerous, can't even gain the zone. And then when you do, it's just nothing. And then tonight, 6-on-5, and you're bumbling the passes, you're giving the puck away, and they score into the empty net. I mean, it kind of sums up this team, I think, unfortunately for them, but it is just it's not good right now in Jetsland.
Not by a long shot. It is not good at all. 6-3, the final score tonight. The Boston Bruins defeat the Winnipeg Jets. This has been the Play Now game recap. I haven't pressed the button yet, but let's do it real quick.
The Play Now game recap.
There you go. We won't suffer or make everybody go through each and every goal again because we're 45 minutes into this post-game show, but I had to play the bumper for our friends at Play Now. Big thanks to them for their continued support of the Legal Curve post-game show. Bet Play Now, the official betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets. Sign up and get up to $250 in bonus bets. Conditions apply. 18 plus. Enjoy responsibly. It's just not good enough for the Winnipeg Jets. And
wait, you don't want to go through all 9 goals, Drew?
No, I don't. I don't think any of us want to go through all 9 goals, to be perfectly honest. We've done so
Yeah, we
not
have.
necessarily in the specific, excruciating detail that we often do, but we've done so. The problem is I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
I do. His name is Connor Hellebuck.
But even so.
No. Again.
Even so, even if you put Connor Hellebuck in net here.
Yeah, if you score 3 goals and Connor Hellebuck's in net, I don't think you give up. He doesn't give up that 4th goal. He doesn't overcommit on the power play goals against. So my guess is, to be honest with you, if you score 3 goals and Connor Hellebuck's in the net for this game, for those goals against, maybe I'm trying to just go over in my mind.
Well, here's the ones that I don't like. I don't like the Pasternak goal, the first goal, the power play goal. I mean, that's a world-class shot from a world-class player.
Sure.
Middle stats, I think Comrie's out of position,
he
overcommits.
Yeah.
Corrali, you have to wait him out. You can't go down that.
I think Hellebuck I know Hellebuck's not great sometimes on shootouts, but I think Hellebuck makes that save.
I think he does too, because I think he outweights Corrali.
So far, Drew. So for the record, Drew, so far you've agreed on. Hold on, just one second. Keep going. But so far you've agreed on two of the shots.
It doesn't matter. I mean, I still think that the defensive breakdowns in front of Connor Hellebuck, or I think the defensive breakdowns that the Jets are suffering are still going to would still result in them losing more games than winning.
Fine, but I'm just saying, if you look at the goals,
are you specifically looking at tonight's game? Yeah,
yes.
Sure.
Keep going. So get the 4th goal.
Yeah, the Lindholm one, no question. That's
3 of 4.
Yeah, 3 of the 4 to start.
And what about the 5th? What about the 5th one?
No, the 5th one is Lindholm. That's wide open in front of the net. That's bar down.
Yeah, that's fair. That one could have been.
That one, I don't have a problem with Comrie playing that one. So yes, I would say that 3 of the
5.
Forget about the empty net goal, but 3 of the 5. Connor Hellebuck more often than not saves. Fine.
Okay, so remove 3 goals and you score 3 for the Jets.
Right.
I think my math is mathing, and you have a winning number there.
But I still don't think that the way they're playing is sustainable to result in victories.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting that the Jets played well enough to win this game. They didn't. You cannot. But it's hard to say, right? Because if it's tough. Like, you're trying to be fair in your analysis. The Jets controlled the first period. The Jets gave up. I mean, again, it's not entirely all on Eric Comrie, because Morgan Barron and Morgan Barron and Gus Nyquist take bad penalties.
Right.
So you take 2 stick penalties in the offensive zone, and you put your team behind it. So it's again, like, that's on those 2 guys, because, like I said, you can't afford, with your PK playing the way it is, especially when Morgan Barron's one of your PKers. But when your PK is playing the way it is, it's just inexcusable to give the Bruins, again, top 5 power play, any opportunity. But again, ultimately, this game was a 1-0 game for the Jets. They were playing the right way. They were controlling the play, as you just said earlier, 10 minutes ago, Drew, where the possession numbers were in their favor in that first period.
Mm-hmm.
But they get 3 goals on 6 shots.
Yeah.
So that to me is it completely deflates this team. So yeah, do I think that the Jets win this game if Connor Hellebuck's in it? I absolutely do. I really do. And again, he can't score goals for them. I understand that. But I just think that he makes the saves. And again, it's not solely on Eric Comrie, because the defensive deficiencies that this team is allowing are not good. But Connor Hellebuck's the MVP of the NHL. He's a 3-time Vezina winner. So you cannot compare what he can do for your organization for what Eric Comrie can do. So, and we saw it, Drew. We've seen it for too many years. This guy single-handedly, cover up a lot of defensive deficiencies. That's all I'd say.
Fair enough. That's a valid point you make. The problems for the Winnipeg Jets, though, continue. That much I think we can both agree upon. And when they will cease to be is still something up in the air, something that the Winnipeg Jets themselves will try and figure out Saturday when they face the Washington Capitals back at home, continue this homestand where they're looking to get a victory where they've been so few and far between. Want to make mention of our friends at Wheatland Hockey. They do a great job teaching about everything there is to do with the game of hockey, particularly for our youth that are starting out playing hockey. They're building skills, they're building character, they're building excellence on and off the ice they're great people with heads on their shoulders. They're not one-track mind people. They're looking to make your child a great hockey player, but a better person. That's what our friends at Wheatland Hockey are focusing on. It's created to meet the needs, offering development-focused, inclusive programs that build hockey skills while fostering confidence, leadership, and resilience. So many great programs available through our friends at Wheatland Hockey. Check them out online. Their programs are selling out left, right, and center. Check them out online, wheatlandhockey.ca. We'll take a break. When we come back, more on the Jets' defeat at the hands of the Boston Bruins. Talk about Saturday's Illegal Curve Hockey Show. If you haven't already done so, folks, smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Turn your notifications on. We want you to come back on Saturday, win or lose. It would be nice now and then to talk about a victory with all of our friends.
Hasn't happened in only twice in 11 games, Drew.
It's been a while since we've had the opportunity to do it. It'd be nice to spend the holiday season with our friends. It's always nice to spend the holiday season with you folks, regardless of whether it's a win or a loss. It would be nice, from the Winnipeg Jets perspective, to do it with a little bit of a smile on faces and with less consternation in the chat. So maybe that'll happen on Saturday. Time will tell. But in any event, what we want you to do before we come back is smash that like button and subscribe to the channel.
Drew, I'll end it here with this final thought, but just to kind of put
final
it into
thought
reference.
before we go to break, not final thought.
Before we go to break, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Last year when the Jets picked up their 14th loss of the season. No, is this the 15th or 14th? No, this was the 14th. No, it's 15th loss, right?
15th loss today. Yeah, this was game number 30. They're 14, 15,
Jets are,
and 1.
wait, the Jets are. Why are you muted?
14, 15, and 1.
Yeah, the 14, 15, and 1. So
this was their 15th loss of the season.
Loss of the season. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Last year came in game 60.
Well, so they're about halfway. This year, game 30. Last year, game 60. So as you can see, they're a little bit. I guess that means they're behind the pace, or does that mean they're ahead? I guess they're behind the pace in the winning, ahead of the pace when in the losing, which is not the way you want it to be. But there you go.
They had 40. They had 42. They had 42 wins. That's crazy.
They had 42 wins before they had their 15th loss last year. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Not this year.
It was February 27th when they had their 15th loss. So
by February 27th, playing at this rate, the season might be over, and they
might have their 42nd loss at that point.
Yeah, they'll be talking about who they're trading at that point in time. More to come. The Illegal Curve post game show, it continues. Don't go anywhere.
I want to thank you for not betting with Play Now and choosing our illegal gambling site instead.
Because we couldn't afford things like this without your money. So much of your money. Now you might have questions like,
do our profits benefit your community?
No. Or bet with Play Now, Manitoba's local legal and secure gambling site.
Dining, entertainment, parking, and convenience, all in one spot. City Place is located in the heart of downtown Winnipeg, attached to the Canada Life Center. Whether you're working, living, or out for a night in the downtown, make City Place your go-to destination before or after the fun finds you. Lunchtime, game time, anytime. Visit City Place at 333 St. Mary Avenue, next to Canada Life Center.
Boys, I've made an important life decision, and I need your support.
Oh, boy.
I've decided to get a grill.
You mean a barbecue grill for cooking? Like, that's not an important life decision, Ezzy.
No. A grill for my teeth.
A grill for your teeth? Do I even want to know why you're doing this?
It's simple, really. Every time I go to Holt Dental, I get treated so very well by Dr. John and his team that I need to keep finding additional reasons to go back. I rely on Holt Dental for all of my dental needs, and they do it all, from regular cleanings to cosmetic dentistry. Plus, they have free parking at their front door, and you know how much I love my convenient parking.
For all your dental needs, Illegal Curve recommends Holt Dental, conveniently located on Taylor Avenue near Grant Park Mall. For more information, visit them online at holtdental.ca.
Guys, big news. You know how I'm always misplacing my cool stuff? Well, Big Daddy has a new hobby, labeling.
Labeling is your new hobby?
You got it. Ever since I discovered Label Daddy's washable labels, I just can't stop labeling. I'm labeling water bottles, hockey sticks, cereal boxes, roast chickens, team jerseys. Everything deserves a label.
I can think of a label or two for you.
Best part is that Label Daddy is the only label company officially licensed by the NHL. So my labels are personalized and can have the Jets logo on them. Just search NHL on the Label Daddy website.
For almost 2 decades, Label Daddy has been helping people to not lose their stuff. It's the most affordable insurance policy around.
For customized, washable, peel and stick labels with no ironing or sewing required, visit labeldaddy.com and search NHL for the label pack belonging to your favorite team.
For over 40 years, Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club has been Winnipeg's home for stand-up comedy. Renowned in the comedy world as a must-play venue, Rumors has recently been named Canada's top comedy club and a top 5 comedy club in North America. From birthday parties to date nights to fundraisers, wedding socials, and everything in between, Rumors is your destination for the best live entertainment Winnipeg has to offer. For information on upcoming shows, Rumors' incredible promotions, and to purchase show tickets, visit rumorscomedyclub.com.
At Boston Pizza, a fast lunch doesn't have to mean fast food. Now you can get a $15 lunch served in just 20 minutes, including your choice of a main, side, and drink. That's right, lunch for $15 at your local Boston Pizza.
Welcome back to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Dave Minuk with you on the Thursday night, talking about another Jets defeat, this time at the hands of the Boston Bruins. Coming up Saturday, the Washington Capitals will visit Winnipeg. The Capitals lost in a shootout tonight to the Carolina Hurricanes, but I don't think I need to tell anybody that the Washington Capitals are actually a very good hockey team. They're 18, let me see if this has been updated. Yeah, they're 18-9-4 on the season. So that's a good hockey team coming to Winnipeg. The Jets are going to have to try and mitigate the impact of, if Hellbuck's not ready on Saturday, Dave, Comrie, or do you go with the kid? You go double D? Yeah.
Dom.com. I mean.
Dom.com?
Yeah.
Is that his nickname?
It is sometimes.
Is it? You mean it is now, basically?
Yeah, I guess so. If you want it to be, we can. I can ask him. We can field test that one with him. Let's see if he likes it. But,
right.
I mean, at this point, it's. Do you want? I would go with him. Why not? Why not give him a shot? I mean, he's been good for the Moose. He was. He's earned an opportunity. I mean, again, we don't know what's going to happen with Connor Hellebuyck. I know that he was pushing for this weekend. I don't think Connor Hellebuyck is playing hockey this weekend for the Winnipeg Jets, but I think he's getting close. And it sounds like the prediction for again, like do I think he's lobbying to play? Yes, absolutely. But do I think he's going to play? No, I don't. I think that they'll wait till maybe the road trip to get him into some games, Drew. But well, I shouldn't say some games. If once Connor Hellebuyck's ready to go, he's playing all the games. Let's be realistic.
Yeah. You mean he might play the rest of the season?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, we did say you didn't want him playing more than 60 games, and we know that that's not possible anymore. I don't think, but well, not realistically possible. But I mean, I'm sure maybe how many games has he played? Because actually, maybe I'm wrong. I'm actually
18, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's probably close to 20, so I should probably be careful with my math there.
Hang on, I'll pull it up real quick here.
Because there's still, I mean, again, there's still 52 games left, right? So.
Oh, he's only played 14 games.
Oh, okay, 14.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, then I'm feeling a little more confident in my prediction. But look, bottom line is that this team needs a lot more than just, some of the comments. I was reading some of the post game stuff during that break, right? And the sense of urgency that this team is needing, and again, we've been wondering where it is, and you can hear the frustration in Scott Arniel, right? Talks about how the group is ready he thinks they're ready to take the next step. And the Dallas game's another example where you're playing the second hottest team, let's call them, the Colorado Avalanche are the hottest team. The Dallas Stars are a close second for where they are in the NHL. And yet you play them well, but you still come away with nothing. And that was a better game, of course, by the Jets. But here's another example where you come out, you have a real good first period, which is exactly what you thought you needed to do, but yet you're still down 3-1 at one point and then 3-2 ultimately because of IFL's goal. But it's not good enough. And, forget about like playoff aspirations, forget about like Stanley Cup aspirations. At this point now, I mean, this is a team, do you really want to be discussed in the same vein as the New York Rangers who won the President's Trophy and then didn't make the playoffs?
You're in survival mode is what this team is. That's the state of the Winnipeg Jets right now, is you're in survival mode. It's fight or flight. I mean, you're hanging on to relevancy by the absolute, the smallest amount possible. I mean, that's just where you are. That's where this team is right now. It is our friend Ezra, who somehow is healthy enough to tweet.
I know, I saw what he just...
healthy, yet not healthy enough to end the show. That'll obviously, Illegal Curve HR will obviously have something to say about that. But he's right, and I hate to say that Ezra's ever right. That goes against my entire mantra as a human. But 5 wins in the last 18 games.
Yeah.
5. Worst team in the NHL since November 1st. Is
that good?
No, it's not. I mean, you can talk about process all you want. You can talk about, getting close. You can talk about whatever sort of lip service you want to pay, but worst team in the NHL
and the crazy
November 1st.
And the crazy part is they're still not far from.
Yeah, sure. You're right. And that could be a driving force for this team. That should be something that they should say in the dressing room. Like, guys, we've played like absolute bleep.
You can say dog shit.
19 games that we've played.
Mm-hmm.
And we still have a fighter's chance. We still have a puncher's chance.
And his name is Connor Hellebuck.
Let's use that. Right? Let's use that reprieve.
Mm-hmm.
Let's use that reprieve and turn this thing around. Next opportunity is Saturday against the Washington Capitals. We'll get you set up for it on Saturday morning on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show.
Before we do, though,
before
you do, I do, of course, this is going to be a busy weekend because there are 4 games, hold on, there was a game tonight, there's a game tomorrow night, there's a game Saturday, there's a game Sunday, and there's a game on Monday. So there's 6 days of games. So there's going to be a lot of scouts, I would imagine, in the building. But you could be in the building tomorrow night if you want to go to the Moose game, because we have 4 tickets in the Illegal Curve zone. I think they're right up against the glass, so that's pretty awesome. If you'd like to go see the Jets of tomorrow, you can indeed from the Illegal Curve zone. So send me an email, dave@illegalcurve.com. It's funny, I'm getting a lot of messages, people picking out games in the future. I mean, I'm happy to do that too, but generally speaking, I try and just give away the games that we're doing that we have for this weekend. So
yeah,
I think tomorrow is their soiree francophone, Friday night, and then of course Sunday, a real good cause. It's the teddy bear giveaway. So teddy bear toss. And
you're supposed to throw the teddy bears, not take the teddy bears.
Yes. You want to give them away to kids who you can use them in Winnipeg. I believe it's in conjunction with the Christmas cheer board. So the Moose are playing Friday and Sunday, and we can send you to the game to see the Jets of tomorrow. And I guess, I think I already gave the update, but Colby Barlow not as bad as it looked based on he got tied up on Sunday, didn't practice with the team, but we'll be at morning skate tomorrow. That's at 10 o'clock. Hockey for All Center. If you want to come say hello, we'll be there. Well, Drew won't be there, but I'll be there with the IC intern, Zach Nolan. And then we'll be covering Jets practice. That's at 12 noon. And we'll keep you up to date with anything that's going on there at Jets practice. But like I said, if anybody wants to go to the Moose game tomorrow, we've got tickets, dave@illegalcurve.com, or you can just message me on Twitter or Insta or whatever, anything like that. And we can send you to the game Friday, or we can get, I think it's an afternoon. I think it's a 2:00 game on Sunday, the teddy bear toss. So that's always fun and good charity. So good excuse to go see these guys. And like I said, they've been really playing well, and you can see them all. Jagger, Lambert, Jibrikov, Ford,
Manuk.
Dewar, Manuk.
See him, Dave@illegalcurve.com or at ICDave on the various social medias.
Last plug I'm going to make is go check out Drew. I know I gave a passionate would you call it a rant? What did we call it earlier today, Drew? But
well, it wasn't a cold hard rant. It was a warm, soft rant.
Yeah, Yeah, so it was how we talked about the NHL aligning the Jets 1.0 and 2.0 records. If you want to read that, I'm going to put the link to it in the chat. But I'm curious to get the folks to read it. Let me know their thoughts. You can leave comments, and we appreciate any and all interaction folks have. And maybe you think I'm out to lunch. Maybe you think it's a good point. Let us know. We're always happy to get your assessment, your feedback.
Former Arizona Coyotes PR guy, former Winnipegger, Rich Nairn says Dave's out to lunch. So get your 2 cents in there as well.
I'd suggest that he's trying to protect his Coyotes history, if you will, but unfortunately he's no longer a Winnipegger, so I'm not sure he gets to dictate. He can be in the Hall of Fame as all he wants, but the fact of the matter is
Jewish Sports Hall of Fame here in Winnipeg.
Is that really a Hall of Fame that you're really wanting to be in?
We're going to get in there one day, so yeah, it is. Any Hall of Fame that would,
all right, fine.
The old expression that any Hall of Fame that would, any room that or any organization that would have us as members is not an organization that I want to be a part of. That's the old adage, something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but
Joe from Winnipeg said that link took me to Ezzy's OnlyFans page, but
yeah, you don't want to see that. Let me tell you, folks.
Anyways, but just let us know what you think. If you think that the 1.0 and 2.0 record should be amalgamated. Look, I just the reason what kind of spurred me on is I'm sitting there watching the warm up, and the hype video is like Teemu Solani and all the Dale Howard-Chuck, like it's the old stool, and I know it's because it's heritage and all that stuff. But anyways, the as I said, de facto it's already basically there. I'm not going to another rant.
Yeah,
but I'm just curious. I want to get people to read it.
Okay, they'll go to the website. Enough. Stop rambling incoherently. You're done. You're done. Thanks everyone for joining us. Big thanks to our sponsors. They make the post-game show, the Saturday show, the website a possibility. That's our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club. Kevin Bozeman at Rumors. Early shows this weekend.
We bowled with Kevin Bozeman, did we not?
We did go bowling with Kevin Bozeman back in the day. You're right about that. The 7:15 p.m. shows Friday, Saturday are sold out. There's still a little bit of space at 9:45. Play Now, they're the title sponsor. Holt Dental, Label Daddy. As he's off labeling roast chickens, you can label whatever you want as well with our friends at Label Daddy. City Place, we were there today. Always a great time. Boston Pizza and our friends at Wheatland Hockey as well. Support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. Plenty to come on illegalcurve.com. Go read Dave's article. Send us your feedback. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Everything that you want to say, you can say on our YouTube channel, on the website, wherever it might be. 9 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, Mike McIntyre is going to join us. Lots to discuss about this Winnipeg Jets team. Then, of course, post-game show later on Saturday night. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Until 9 a.m. on Saturday, we wish you good night and good luck. Thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.